Good morning. It's April 15th, tax day here in the US, but also we're halfway through April, Earth Month, and that means we are on our what? It's telling me I'm paused? What do you mean I'm not pausing using the app? Okay, I don't know what's going on with this. All of a sudden it told me I wasn't using the app. What else could I be using if I'm here? Anyhow, day 15 of our April Earth Month Repurposed Art Challenge. Today, it's mullein. That's right there. That's our mullein. I actually had one volunteer grow in my yard last summer, and I meant to take a picture of it this morning, but I didn't. I forgot. It's a very tall, very dry stalk right now with a bow on it because I didn't want anyone to chop it off by accident when it started drying up at the end of the summer. I went and I put a bow on it. Just a strip of muslin tied in a bow. Anyhow, so today I think I'm going to make, it's sort of like a cone shape and it's very textural. So I've gathered all my green straws that I have and I've been cutting little flowers out of the plastic lids. You know, I have all these plastic lids, which if I run out of yogurt lids, these will be the lids that I'll be creating my work on. But all I'm doing is I cut the lid into little squares, rectangles, whatever. And I am just freehand cutting a little tiny, or not so tiny, 5-petal yellow flower, which is what the mullein, I can't even pronounce it, grows. So, and I think I'm going to cut these straws into sections and stitch them on to suggest the mullein. I'm going to cut up just like 2 straws for now. And I do have slightly different color green. It would be nice to use a slightly different color green just to get nice texture going. And I'm cutting them roughly about 1.5 inches long. I don't know if that's right or wrong. And this is a straw that I used yesterday for my mimosa, right? No, it wasn't mimosa, it was bleeding hearts. So it's already cut in half, but I'm going to use that as well. It's sort of a yellow green as opposed to a blue green that these are. And I think a yellow green is more appropriate. So my green thread, and I'm going to start. So if I'm looking at the picture, it's sort of a cone shape and the top is all buds and the bottom is where the flowers start appearing before it fully blooms. So I'm just going to I think I'm just going to do like 1 stitch at a time. I just need it to be upward facing, you know, like this. So I'm just going to vary my little straw pieces and see if I can do this. Someone is talking really loudly in the hallway and it sounds like it's an argument. I hope you guys can't hear this. The walls are very thin in this old building. Surprisingly, right? You'd think that the walls would be very sturdy. Well, they are sturdy, but they're thin at the same time. I know, it's so silly. Okay, so I'm taking 1 stitch through each petal, or not petal, I guess it's a bud, a green bud, and sort of simulating. I'm gonna layer them on and see if I can get it to look like I think I want it to look. The key is to position them in the right way so that they're all sort of fanning out a tiny bit. That's my plan anyway. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But I think it's going to work. So because today is April 15th, I want to remind you that the doors to the Repurposed Collective are only open until the end of the month, April 30th. So that means you have 15 days to join us if you would like to. And I would highly recommend that you do, of course, because we are a fabulous group of women who are incredibly creative and are always learning something new. So I would suggest that you join us because the doors are only open until the end of the month. So this is what it's looking like. I think I'm liking it. It's sort of pine looking like. It's looking like a pine tree. But I think that once I stitch it all on here, and once I add the flowers, it will resemble a mullein. Mullein? I'm not sure. All right, I'm low on my thread, so I'm just going to tie this off back here. And thread another needle. So I hope that you are remembering to tag me when you're creating your artworks for the Repurposed Art Challenge, and that way I can see it and share it and tag you. Not tag you. Share your work and put you into the highlights section of the Repurposed Collective Earth Month. On the Repurposed Collective Instagram, I have a highlight for all the people who are participating on there in Earth Month. So if you ever wanted to see everyone else's creations for Earth Month, you should just go to @Repurposed Collective and look for the highlights at the top of the feed. And there's one that says Earth Month 2026. And that's where everyone who posts their creations on Instagram and tags me and I share them, I save that in those highlights so you don't have to go searching for them. You can just see it all right there. Makes life easier, right? I hate when I have to go searching for things. So let's see. I think I'm going to stitch these on, and I'm going to then layer a few more on top to make it more of a 3D effect. Right now it's sort of like a relief, stitching straw by straw. I only have 3 color straws, unfortunately. I wish I had more colors to make this more vibrant. And I wish I had more of a yellow green, but I do have that one straw that's a yellow green that's coming off here. And, you know, no matter how long you save this stuff, straws only come in a whole bunch of specific colors. So I got to use what I've got. That's how that works. Okay, so I'm going to do the outline pieces. It gets wider towards the bottom. So I'm going to do the outline pieces first, and then I will layer in the middle and make it more 3D. That's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. It looks like a very weedy stalk, but it's actually quite a cool looking plant when you get a close look at it. It's really pretty wild. So I would recommend you seek it out and see if you can find ones to take a look at. Very cool looking plant. And so tall. The stalk that I have in my yard from last year is taller than me. Not that I'm very tall, but I'm 5'5", and this thing is taller than that. Just a little taller than that. So it's pretty impressive, I think. Okay, so I'm getting my cone in shape here, more or less. I just want to make sure these little guys are facing in the right direction. But so far I'm pretty pleased with how they're turning out. So I've got a little pine tree growing here, which I will turn into a mullein shortly. But for now, it's sort of pine tree looking, which is fine. And maybe next time I'll do trees. Next Earth Month challenge, you'll be invited to make trees. What do you think? Maybe that could work. That could be fun. I was also thinking maybe mushrooms, or we could do birds, or we could do fruit. So many different options, and all good. All would work. I'm gonna have to cut up another straw, I think, to get more layers on here. Okay, so now I'm starting to do a second layer on top of the third and sort of first, and sort of filling in the empty spot I've got in the middle here. And then the last part will be stitching on flowers. Let's see, I'll do this dark here. I did not know that mullein was a medicinal plant until I started doing the research for this project. It's really quite cool. Used by many natives, old pagans and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. You can dig into the story of the plants. Plant histories are fascinating. Any kind of histories are fascinating. I'm one of those people who can fall down a rabbit hole of looking up information and never actually get anything done. So here's what my mullein top is looking like. I think I'm almost ready to sew on some flowers, but it's getting a little bit more difficult to put on these straw buds because they're getting pretty thick in the layers. But I shall persevere, and this will get done. I can do this. So I'm putting it on the table so I have a little more control as I push the needle through. Yeah, this is looking good. Okay, so I'm going to push the needle through here. And, oh, I have one more piece, and then I'm going to have to cut a few more pieces of straw because I don't have enough. Although if I stitch on some flowers soon, I should be able to do it, and that will fill in the spaces. So here's what it's looking like. I'm really quite pleased with it. I do need a few more pieces. So I'm gonna, actually this is a thinner straw, it's a little different, so we'll do a different texture. And I'm gonna cut these pieces a little bit smaller and just add them for texture. Okay, so hello, welcome. I hope if you're participating in the Earth Month Repurposed Art Challenge that you share your creations with me. And if you're on here now, let me know if you're participating. I'd love to know how it's going for you. We're on day 15. How quickly time flies, right? How quickly. Always can barely keep track. All right, I am running out of thread length again. Here's one. I'm going to tie this off, and I'm going to thread my needle again. This might be the most times I've had to thread my needle while doing these live. But sometimes that's how it is. So I'm using just an embroidery floss, a sort of a mossy green embroidery floss. Oops. Can I thread a needle? I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Or no, I can't. Oh, the pressure of threading a needle on a live Instagram. Okay, here we go. To the finish. I'm pretty pleased with the way it's looking. Look at that. Lots of nice textures. Yeah, this is looking good. Okay, so I'm going to stitch on a few smaller ones now. So I'm just pushing the needle through, hoping to not tangle things. And then I'm pushing the needle through the straw because it's such a big layer already. I'm pushing the needle through the straw completely before pushing it into the lid and the other straws beneath. Because it's a little more complicated now that I have all these layers going. But it's working, so I can do this. Okay, just a few more pieces and then I'll stitch on the flowers, and that will be Mullein for day 15th. Day 15, here we go. Okay, I think maybe just one more. All right, maybe two more. I want it to look nice and luscious. I don't want to, sometimes simplicity is important and you got to stop while you're ahead. But in this case, I think I really want it to be really, really luscious. That feels important for this thing, for this plant. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flowers. I think that's good. Stitching on, and I'm going to stitch them on towards the bottom because the top is all buds. And I'm going to make an attempt. Should I make an attempt? I was going to say I'm going to make an attempt to make a French knot, but it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. So I'm just going to take one stitch through each center. Now, this is me saying simple is best here. After I did all this texture, I'm going for simplicity. So here's my first little flower. Yeah, I think this will work well. Okay, pushing my needle through up here. Then putting a flower on it. And coming back in. I want to stitch this one through the straw. There we go. Oh, I love these. Okay, I'm pleased. I am pleased. Sometimes you have an idea in your head and then you try it out and it doesn't work. And you go, all right, well, I tried. But sometimes you have an idea in your head and you try it out and it actually works. And that is always so pleasant when that happens. It does not happen a lot, but it does happen. And now that I'm talking too much, I'm tangling my thread. Come on, little flower, let's not get tangled. Come on. Oh, it's all getting twisted up here. There we go. There we go. It's starting to happen. Okay. I'm going to do another one down here, and then I'll go up towards the top a little bit. I'm going to do this funky looking one. It's all weirdly shaped. Oh well. I think I'm going to stitch it here towards the bottom, even coming off the end. And now I'm going to go higher up and stitch them into the higher portions. I'm trying to, as I'm doing this, to not squish them, the flowers, not let the flowers squish the straws, because I worked hard on getting that 3D action going. So my plan is to not squish them too much. Yeah, okay, now I'm going to do one in here. And you may have noticed as you've been watching me stitch these, I tend to like my flowers to be odd numbered. I think that makes for a better composition. That's really my only rule overall for compositions. And is it really a rule? It's not really a rule, because rules are meant to be broken. Sometimes an even composition is what's needed, but most of the time for myself, for my own compositions, I like them to be odd numbered. I think that works best. And there it is. All right, one more flower. I think I'll put it right here towards the top, and it happens to be a little one that I have left, so that's perfect. And my mullein will be all done. Last flower. Stitching my final flower for day 15th. Don't get tangled now. Of course, that's when it gets tangled on the last one, right? There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to tie off my thread here, and then I will show you my finished mullein. Ta-da! There it is. There's my completed mullein for the day 15 of the Earth Month Repurposed Art Challenge. So I hope you've made your mullein. Please share it with me. I'd love to see it. Don't forget to tag me. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.